3, 2, 1, 0, +1.
India's space odyssey takes a cosmic leap this Wednesday. ISRO launches a record-breaking 104 satellites in a single day. Tamil Nadu political thriller for the top post turns another page. The apex court rejects Jayalalitha's aide Sasikala's plea for more time to surrender. Sasikala will be imprisoned in the Parappana Agrahara jail in Bengaluru. 1.1 million Indians died due to air pollution in the year 2015, and this death toll is second only to China's worldwide. These startling findings are from the State of Global Air 2017 report.
Details of these 20 candidates will be put up on a flex outside the polling station so that voter, while going to vote, can have a look and know the antecedents of the candidate.
Mumbaikars, when you go to vote this time for the BMC elections, look for the educational qualification, criminal record and other vital information on candidates which will be made public. That is the word coming in from Commissioner J.S. Saharia in an exclusive chat with Magic Bricks Now. Brutal murder caught on camera. Congress corporator from Bhiwandi, Maharashtra, Manoj Mhatre, shot dead in a parking lot. Hello and welcome. You are watching The Big Story here on Magic Bricks Now. I am Krishna Kumar. Before we move on to any of the top stories, straight up, the big proud moment for India. ISRO, or Indian Space Research Organization, has created a world record by sending 104 satellites in a single rocket from the Sriharikota Space Center. ISRO has used the XL variant, the most powerful rocket for the mission. Of the 104 satellites ISRO launched, 3 are Indian and 101 are foreign and smaller satellites. PM Modi has congratulated the Indian Space Agency for this remarkable achievement.
Great moment for each and every one of us. And as you know, doing something new in an innovative way successfully is always a passion for ISRO team that we call the affectionately Team ISRO. In fact, today we had the successful launch of PSLE C-37 Carto 2 series mission. That is the 39th. That is another example for this, whatever statement I made. And it is confirmed now all the 104 satellites which it has carried has been successfully deployed in orbit. And with this, another record PSLE has created.
This launch, we have strengthened our power to launch multiple satellites into the space at one go, and that can be termed as a big achievement as far as the commercial aspect of the space exploration goes, because then we can launch a number of satellites at a lower cost than the other companies.
All right, away from that big story, straight to the big story that we are discussing over here tonight. Time for some shocking data. India's poor air quality causes nearly 1.1 million deaths every year. This is almost on par with China. These hair-raising numbers have come up in a joint report by the two US-based health research institutes. My colleague Deepa Rana gets us all the details in this report. First up, take a look.
Air pollution in the country has reached alarming levels, with at least 10 Indian cities reported to be the most polluted, including the national capital and cities like Gwalior. According to a US study, the air quality in India is so bad that it causes at least 1 million premature deaths every year. This is at par with China. When China has taken stringent measures to control air pollution in their country, very little has been done by the Indian government to control air pollution in the country. Remember that it was in November, in the month of November, when a health emergency was declared in the national capital. I have with me the report. This is an official data, and I would ask my camera person to just pan and show you over here. This is an official data which we have accessed from the Central Pollution Control Board. These were the 20 pointers which were released by the Central Pollution Control Board as stringent measures which are going to be followed to control air pollution levels in the national capital. This included vehicular emissions, control of vehicular emissions, shutting down of unlicensed baking operations in the cities, in the nearby areas in the national capital. Also, it included enhancing of public transport, shutting down of Badarpur thermal coal power plant, and also increasing the number of fines for the open garbage burning and creating dust pollution. However, these were the important measures which the government had announced despite the meetings, several meetings done by the Central Pollution Control Board as well as the Delhi government, and promises of bringing down the air pollution by sprinkling the roads and sprinkling the trees. Very little has been done on ground. We reached out to various citizens as well, various environmentalists as well, and they tell us that a health crisis has been declared, and if the government does not take the stringent measures and urgent measures right now, it is only going to create the situation more worse. This is Deepa Rana reporting for Magic Bricks Now in New Delhi.
Alarming pollution levels and the number of deaths and their increase over the years is indeed the big story that we're tracking over here. It's all part of this particular report, the State of Global Air 2017. And this report contains those numbers, those hair-raising numbers, and we have a very special panel to understand this, because this is very important to each and every single one of you watching over there. The State of Global Air 2017 report that says that the number of deaths in India is matched only by that of China when it comes to the cause of pollution. And to take it forward, we have with us Mr. Stalin Dayanand, activist joining us here in our Magic Krishna studios in Mumbai, and Mr. Vimlendu Jha, also an activist, joining us through Skype. Thank you, both of you gentlemen, for taking time out to be with us here on the big story on Magic Bricks Now. I'm going to kick things off with Mr. Stalin Dayanand, who is over here. Mr. Dayanand, you've been, fighting for trees in a city like Mumbai, where, your organization has been trying their best to make sure that the trees that are cut down in this country, in this city, keeps going down. But these numbers, I must, ask you, they don't shock you, right? Because what you've seen in terms of environment conservation in this country, especially in the city of Mumbai, over the last decade and a half or so, these numbers are only to expect, right?
Definitely, I'm not at all surprised. In fact, the numbers could be worse because the data from the remote parts of India hasn't come in. We have developed this tendency of completely, or not the tendency, this habit of just ignoring the environmental aspects in a city, especially the cities of India are death traps, and people need to realize this. And the problem is that people have compromised with their own existence to a level where even the air they breathe is not important. And this report needs to be a wake-up call for every citizen. Every Indian needs to wake up and say, okay, I demand my share of clean air, which is a constitutional right. Everything else can wait. You need to breathe clean air first. People need to realize that.
That's absolute. That's where it all begins, right? In fact, any good health regimen says that you have to get the breathing right. And if you have to get the breathing right, the air needs to be right. And the State of Global Air 2017 report clearly says that there's something very, very wrong with the way the air in India is progressing. Mr. Vimlendu Jha, I have to come to you to start things off. Again, no surprise, as activists, you all know how dire the situation is. But what does this particular report mean now? Is it time that the citizens, start taking it seriously when it comes to the purchase of their next homes, when it comes to the purchase of their next vehicles?
It's not just about, it's very easy to really only blame citizens and look at individual action.
Okay.
The kind of issue that we're actually talking about is grave. We're talking about almost 1 million people losing their lives every year in a country like India. And interestingly enough, and unfortunately enough, if you look at the list of 20 most polluted cities, 10 cities are from India. And interestingly enough, it's not Delhi and Mumbai necessarily. It's smaller towns. It's actually Allahabad, Lucknow, Kanpur. These cities are the most polluted cities in the world. And then we are actually also, there's another report at the same time that we need to talk about, that our environment minister, the government of India of the current day, says, well, this report is actually inconclusive. So, if our government doesn't accept that, yes, there is a crisis, there is a public ecology crisis, there is a public health crisis, how will they ever respond? Because they have not really responded. Imagine in 2017, February, we are actually talking about it. Just a couple of months ago, it was the Supreme Court of India and National Green Tribunal that came together and told the government to really do the needful, because they have just not been doing enough. Your reporter said that CPCB on paper has actually announced so many measures, but that measures on paper is only of that much virtue, of only that much value. And it's unfortunate that nobody is taking it seriously. It's so unfortunate that the government should really be alarmed. Year after year, there are bodies. WHO has said this. By the way, the same report that came in 2015 said that 3,200 people die in India annually because of air pollution, but nobody really cared about it, and that's really extremely painful. So it's a crisis situation, but the bigger crisis is that we don't even accept that this is crisis. We allow our citizenry to die slowly and almost blame and the attribution gap. Our government, both at the central level, at the state level, it's not a particular political party, because there are states, and all the states and most state capitals are actually toxic air chambers killing people every day. And imagine, if you look at the public discourse is not about health. Yes. There are more people dying today because of air rather than because of the terrorist attack or because of the political turmoil in Tamil Nadu. But does it affect our political class? No, not at all, because there's no uprising and there's no political will at all that we have.
No political will, and the public discourse is just not up to it when it comes to the grave nature of the situation. Mr. Stalin Dayanand, you wanted to come in as well. Which is the most polluted city/town in the country? It's not Delhi or Mumbai as we expected, is it?
No, I think Patna also features high on the list. But in terms of casualties, I would say Mumbai and Delhi rank higher because of the density of people around here.
True.
So it's a bigger threat in Mumbai and Delhi. That's what I would say.
And also, but PM2.5 level actually of Gwalior and Allahabad, as in if you look at the study, it actually interestingly says Gwalior is 176 is what PM2.5 level is. Allahabad is 170 that we're talking about, and Patna is 149, Raipur is 144. Imagine these cities were never even part of our public discourse, and they are the ones who are the most polluted cities of not the country, my dear, of the world, by the way, that we talk about. So we have become very famous, but we've become famous once again for bad reasons. And this is completely because of inaction by the government. The way we look at our coal policy, the way we look at our energy policy, the way we look at our construction policy. Imagine in Delhi, not a single bus has been added, DTC bus has been added in the last 3 years. There's nothing in the name of dust mitigation that we actually see on the streets of Delhi at all. Year after year, there's an announcement. There's nothing that we see in the name of Swachh Bharat that says that you and I pay visibly, other than the big billboard saying we have become Swachh, and every bill says Swachh and billboard says Swachh, but India remains the most polluted city in the world, most polluted country in the world.
Nothing Swachh about India, is it, Mr. Vimalendra Jha? Stalin, you've had your brushes with the government trying to, especially the state government over here in Maharashtra. You've tried to remind them about cutting trees for the sake of development, and that has primarily been the reason why there's such little oxygen in the air of late, because of the last decade or two, for the amount of construction activity thanks to the rising population and the lack of discipline in the development that we've done over the last decade or so, that's resulted in this, right?
Definitely. See, that it's not just about oxygen. The trees are dust filters also.
Yeah.
If you see every tree, you will find a coating of dust on the leaves, and that is the dust which would have gone into your lungs otherwise. So these trees are actually keeping the air clean for you. And the problem is not the lack of political will. It's the problem is that environment illiterates are calling the shots. They do not understand aspects of environment. To them, environmental issues start with planting a tree and forgetting about it. It's not so. The air, just like he mentioned correctly, Swachh Bharat means Swachh Hawa or Swachh Pani. Air and water need to be clean. You have a dubious distinction now of having the worst polluted air and also the most number of polluted rivers in this country. So we are we have forgotten what it means to be having clean environment. Environment includes the air and the water.
It starts with there, isn't it? Every human being needs air and water. And both of them, we have some of the worst quality of it in this country. We're now being joined on the phone line by Mr. Ashish Sood of the BJP. Mr. Ashish Sood, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on the big story on Magic Bricks now. Let's, for example, take the city of Delhi, which is infamous for its pollution levels, especially particulate matter pollution and dust pollution. We've seen pollution hitting headlines in New Delhi. And now we have this report which says that India is on par with China, if not better than China, when it comes to having pollution levels and the deaths caused by pollution levels in this country.
Yes, this report which has appeared in today's newspapers is alarming. And I must add to this that barring last 2.5 years, there were hardly any debates on the quality of air, on the cleanliness, on the Swachh Bharat or other things. The moment this project was taken up by the Honorable Prime Minister, the awareness has at least started. Now it is first of all, the citizens of the country need to be awakened that we try to reduce the pollutants in the rivers, in the airs, and we try to be friendly with the environment. And the responsibility of the state governments is also important, because these are all state subjects. How the public transport be made more convenient so that the number of vehicles plying on the roads in the different states come down, the power generations and the other factors should be taken into account. At least with the starting of the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan by the Honorable Prime Minister, awareness and the thinking in this direction has started.
All right, Mr. Sood, even as you're talking, both of our other panelists, Mr. Vimalendu Jha and Mr. Stalin Dayanand, have to say something to you. I'm going to, Vimalendu, you put your hand up first. Vimalendu, please go ahead quickly.
Yes, so I need to tell you that, this is not a question. This report is very, very scary, and it is not about raising awareness in Swachh Bharat. It is about failure of governance. And Mr. Sood, every political party is the same. By the way, I don't know if you've seen the report. Top in that list is a city called Gwalior, which is in Madhya Pradesh, which is, of course, run by BJP. Delhi is run by Aam Aadmi Party. There are cities which are run by Congress. And to really, at the end of the day, when we say improve public transport, do you think a normal citizen can improve the public transport when you do not really invest in public transport? Imagine such a shameful situation that we are so proud today of ISRO's, sending satellites into the space, and we have this news which says that India loses 1 million people. So we need to get beyond rhetoric and ads. So Swachh Bharat is only as good as this report could be. At the end of the day, if there's no impact on the ground, a campaign is of no use, and it's a collective failure of our political class, our governance. Also, I agree, citizens need to demand more action and response from our political class.
Right,
yes,
Vimalendu. Stalin Dayanand want to take off from where you left off. Mr. Sood, please hold on. Mr. Stalin Dayanand wants to have a say, and then I will let you have your say. Mr. Sood, please hold on. Stalin Dayanand.
Mr. Sood, which Swachh Bharat ad talks of clean air, and you talk of Swachh Bharat? What is the waste collection system that you have put into rural India? You have nothing of that sort. Making an announcement is something else. Following it up with concrete steps is what is to be done, which no government has done. But the sad fact is that this government announced it and still it's not doing anything. So I wouldn't take and put the entire blame on you, but I'm talking to you on this Swachh Bharat thing. This Swachh Bharat concept only means not in my backyard. Clean your backyards and say everything is clean. No. Air and water has to be Swachh first. That should be the focus.
Please go ahead.
I will agree on one thing with Mr. Vimalendu Jha. I have many disagreements with him in the earlier debates also. When Vimalendu Jha says that we should all stay away from the rhetorics, even the experts, this applies to the political class and experts also.
So what was the rhetoric?
Mr. Sood, you
What
saying
was the
the
rhetoric?
experts also bring out rhetoric?
What
This
was the
report
rhetoric?
over here is not a rhetoric, Mr. Sood. This report says that over 1 million people
Everybody
are dying in
knows about
India
this
because of
report.
air pollution.
Who
There is
was
no
talking
rhetoric over here,
about
it's
this
facts.
report 2 years back? When the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan has been introduced,
Yeah.
we are all talking and finding faults in that Abhiyan.
Because the
Who was
money is
talking
being paid
about
to you
all
on
these
that.
systems?
You are
All these
collecting
things
money from the
2 years ago.
citizens to do a particular
Who was
cleanliness act which you are not doing. The air
who
is
was
as
talking
polluted,
about all
the
these
water
things?
is as polluted. You need to realize
Who was
that.
talking about? Who was
Bharat,
talking
please.
about
All
all
right,
these
one
things
gentleman,
2
one
years
at a time.
ago?
Gentlemen, please, gentlemen, one at a time. Mr. Sood, please finish your statement.
Who was talking about these reports? Who was talking about these things 2 years ago? You are finding fault in a very
No.
good-
So we shouldn't talk about the fact that we have over 1 million deaths in India?
No.
You may find faults in all those things, but the fact of the situation is the awareness has come. Awareness, the common citizen is talking about the clean air, is demanding for the clean air. The awareness has come because of the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. And
Show me the ad.
whose subject is this?
Show
It
me
is
the ad.
state subject
Show-
to maintain all these things. You cannot. The government of India is pumping money into the system to all states. And
Sir.
you find fault.
One
in
second,
the Swachh Bharat
one at a
Abhiyan.
time, gentlemen.
Hats off to you all.
Mr. Vimlendu Jha, please go ahead.
Yeah, so Mr. Sood, the thing is that first point, that this discussion is not a report card. Nobody's saying Swachh Bharat. This is not about that. We need to
When you presented
understand
it earlier, it was like that.
Sir,
Okay,
please
so it is
understand
not
this.
like that. This is also
My-
about a program like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, which is not doing enough to clean the air and the water in this country. Like it is also the problem, not the main problem.
By the way,
Is
today
it
says that
is
I
it
don't
only the
really believe in
responsibility
this
of
report.
central government to
Mr.
do
Dave
this?
says this. How can you
Is this
expect
only
that
the
the political
responsibility
class
of
will
the
be
central
serious
government
about
to do
air
this?
quality when they reject a global report that came in 2015, that the report that came by Greenpeace, by WHO, and now when we talk about state of global air report that's come out of Boston, if you reject it, because our environment minister, sir, rejected this report today and said, oh, well, it's very inconclusive. So we will begin to fix our air. First, we need to really have a consensus that there is a problem. If we do not accept and agree that there's a problem,
All right.
and the
I
problem is
would come in,
now,
yeah.
it's problem
We
is
may
fixing
not
our
agree
energy.
with everything which West transfers to our country.
Mr. Sood, with all respect to you and to your political affiliations or the government, I have one request to make with folded hands. The children of this country below 5 years of age have been pumped with all antibiotics to treat respiratory illnesses. Spare our kids this torture. Do something to clean the air. That should be your focus. All other development can take a back seat. First, you need clean air to breathe. Don't cut down a single tree till you have
experts who
better
talk
air
about
quality.
The experts who talk about this should also understand that the responsibility lies on every section of the society to make aware the people of the country.
Sir, when you have a party that has got the biggest majority in 30 years and claims to lead the country, to clean up of black money, clean up of everything, clean up the air, clean up the water before you clean up the black money in this country, at least now, for the sake of future generations, for children who are suffering with polluted air. And with that, I'm sorry, I have to wrap this discussion up. Thank you all of you gentlemen for taking time to be with us here. All you audience watching, do not forget, this is not just another discussion. 1 million people, over 1 million people in India have died in the year 2015 alone, thanks to pollution of air and water. This is no laughing matter. This is not just another debate. It is up to you to make sure the people who rule you, be it at the local level or at the central level, or all the authorities concerned, are taken to task to provide you with clean water and clean air. And with that, we move on to another very, very important story over here. Heart patients rejoice. Angioplasties are set to become cheaper with the NPPA, or National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, slashing prices of life-saving coronary stents by 85% to 29,600 rupees. Till this order came about, a stent cost between 40,000 rupees to 2 lakh rupees. While patients and public health organizations are naturally enthused, the industry is in a state of shock. Here's a special report.
In a major relief to lakhs of heart patients across the country, the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority brought down prices of life-saving coronary stents from 1.2 lakh rupee to 29,600 rupees. What this essentially means is that all kinds of stents, imported or domestic, will cost the same amount. This move has been brought about after hospitals were allegedly charging patients exorbitant amounts with a markup of more than 100%. Public health organizations are naturally enthused.
As you know, the Ministry of Health's expert subcommittee had noted that there is a massive unmet need. And we feel that capping the price at what they have done, which is around 7,000 for bare metal stents and 30,000 for drug-eluting stents, will actually ensure that it improves accessibility and affordability of the stents.
The National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority has also mandated hospitals bill cardiac stents and procedure package separately. Hospitals Magic Bricks now contacted say that although there was a bit of confusion the day this was notified, they have now told their suppliers about the change and have started to implement it.
So all hospitals will have to fall in line, no? And they have to charge the same price, whatever has been suggested. And that is 29,600, the optimal price for a stent. And whatever adjustments the hospital and the manufacturer and or supplier makes, that they have to do it immediately, no?
But the industry is still in shock. Foreign stent manufacturers, who will be the worst hit, say that this could further hamper innovation in coming times.
When people come up with better or newer or more efficacious products, they'll perhaps target other markets first and then target India after they gain scale in those markets, because India is not going to remain as profitable for those innovative products.
Domestic stent manufacturers whose stents cost much lesser than foreign-made stents say that the government has not given them any transition time.
I can't imagine doctors telling the patients that I will not do surgery until I've got clarity from the suppliers. And if the doctor continues with the surgery and he sends credit notes across to the distributors, and distributors expect this will be settled by the manufacturer, this is going to cause lots of hardship.
However, public health organizations contend that there is no scientific data to prove this statement, considering the prices at which these stents are manufactured is much lower. Despite the industry pointing out a number of challenges when it comes to fixing ceiling prices for cardiac stents, good news says that the number of angioplasties and the number of patients who can afford to undergo these treatments will only increase. This is Amata Balachandra for Magic Bricks Now.
And with that, a wrap here on this edition of The Big Story on Magic Bricks Now. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magic Bricks Now. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.